Let's bring in Chu Chang, Assistant Director of International Monetary Institute. Great to have you on the program this evening. Now, this framework that both sides have agreed to implement still needs the approval of President Xi and Trump. Any reason why they won't?
Well, actually, we have to understand this trade talk is actually going on pretty well. According to the public statement, it's basically so, and everybody said they're going to respect the framework has already been set by the two leaders. And also, you have to understand that this is not only the two delegations thing, but the previous talk over the phone between the two leaders actually made a lot of, made lots of the drive toward this round of the talk because they talked more than just a trade during the talk, according to our source. And I think that phone call goes on really well. That's the reason why they agreed on a lot of the things to start with. And second thing that we need to notice that, but we really need to notice on the change of the team of the delegation, especially from the United States side. First time, I think the whole team has been led by, the Secretary of the Finance of the United States, Mr. Bessent, basically are taking it as one of the most important fiscal issues for the United States because the balance of the fiscal policies, balance of the balance sheet, balance on the international payment is the other most important thing for these kind of the tariff conflicts. But this time, if you take a look at the team's consistency, you will find out, Mr. Bessent has gone. Publicly, it's a Congress hearing is going on. He has to go. But what left in here is Mr. Lutnick and Mr. Guerrier. So which shows the whole world, actually, this has been changing, switching from a fiscal policy talk towards a purely commercial or trade talk. So it will tell us that the whole thing has been focusing on the concrete, detailed things on, commerce, on trade, for example, like the rare earths on the high-tech, products. And also, last but not least, what we heard is that the things really are going on because Lutnick is really a tough guy. Mr. Halifeng is also a very tough negotiator. So they are both saying very good. So I think they have already been agreeing on some frameworks. And our source in London on site, they're telling us the vibe is going on really well. And I think there is a framework is going to come out very, very soon. This thing is dealing with what we call the structural tools or structural agreement, which means China has some structural tools like the rare earth magnetic material, and America has high-tech products, and there are bans and sections on the semiconductors and chips and so on. So I think the both sides right now are negotiating on the reciprocal agreement on this detailed products.
Let's talk about the rare earth and magnets issue a little bit more. It seemed like the US was very enthusiastic to see that being resolved. Do you think that this was China leveraging its power against the United States with these more targeted tariffs? Is this what brought the two sides together, these rare earths and minerals?
Well, I think for this round, yes, China is using its card to levy against the United States to negotiate for a better deal. Because not only for the semiconductors, China has been surviving this for more than 3 years, but also for another 20% of the tariffs. Just take a look. China levied 10% to the United States, but the United States still have 30% on China. So these things remain not resolved, so need to be resolved this time. And also, secondly, there are many very important multinationals of the United States working in China. They have been bonding with China for a very long time, so they need to use this opportunity to solve this kind of issues. So this is also part of the very important talk. And also, last but not least, this is just a trigger for the round 3 and a wide-ranging, covering more topic American-China talk, in the next 3 months. So I think this is just setting up a tone for the both sides to negotiate on more important and wider issues.
Yeah, what I found quite interesting was the way in which the US delegation spoke about the meeting. He spoke about the length being 12 hours, also talked about the heated discussions, the ways in which they had to wait for those heated comments to be translated and then respond in their own sort of cultural way. Do you think that the differences in the way in which both economies work are part of the challenge in terms of coming to the table and agreeing on something that's going to, be structural and positive moving forward?
Oh yes, because you have to understand that culture and understanding towards negotiation are very, very different between the two civilizations. Well, in the previous talk between Chinese PM Mr. Liu He and also United States Well, they have very different understanding towards certain words. For example, like reciprocal. How do you interpret that in different language and cultural backgrounds? Well, leading to different result and very, very important. So this time, I think both sides are taking this very, very cautiously. They try to make sure that every word and that every deal can be negotiated in a very careful way. And also for China, even though we try to use the rare earth and magnetic material, but also you have to understand this is not something, the resources with no limits. Well, China, even though it's the largest reserver of all this kind of the materials, but still this kind of the yielding and also the storage under the earth is still very, very limited towards the fast booming, needs in semiconductors, fighter jet, and also the robots. So I think all this need to be used very, very carefully. We spend the rare earth and magnetic material, but how much of the condition, what kind of the things reciprocally can be traded back into China, and also how can we use it to leverage for a longer deal, facing more, sustainability and more, prosperity and more certain promise in the future.